Hello, and welcome to Abby Tyler's Healthy Living. My name is Abby Tyler. I'm your host, a family nurse practitioner, a health and wellness blogger, and a community volunteer. In here, we discuss evidence based health information regarding mind, body, and soul with a holistic emphasis. Thanks for joining me on this journey of health and wellness. Please enjoy the show. Hello, ATH Ellis. Welcome to a special edition of Abby Tyler's Healthy Living Weekly Show. My name is Abby. For those of you who don't know me on this time of the week, I am a family nurse practitioner. And as you can see, I'll be talking about today. The topic is reasons why people faint. There are a multitude of reasons. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I'll just kind of hit the main ones. No, I will might not be talking exactly to what went on transpire with the president because as a provider, I cannot diagnose somebody just by looking at them without having improved access to their medical records and all of that. So hopefully his family and his medical team have done everything that needs to be done to make sure that he is well and well taken care of. Okay, so I would just get into the topic right now. Again, I am a provider, but I'm not your provider. So please do not make any changes to your regimen without checking with your own provider. Alrighty, so I'm gonna put my glasses on and we'll get right to it. Please share the show. Please share the show. And let me go in there and I'm gonna change my banner. Okay. So, what are some of the reasons that people faint? Fainting is also called syncope, and the medical terminology for it is called syncope, syncope. This is when like a temporary loss of blood flow to the brain. So now we'll say what's some of the reasons that cause people to faint? Because sometimes fainting it could be like okay. It's something that people faint. Everybody that the study goes like at least you'll faint once in your life. It may be fairly common, but it's also at the same time when if you do faint, you want to make sure you go and check with your doctor because the problem it could be just something that just happened, temporary episodic. There's something that just happened that caused that, some kind of external factor, or it could be something that's life threatening. All right, so that's why I tell people make sure you go get checked and all that, so they can do some testing, and they can say, okay, yeah, you just fainted, maybe there was something going on at the time, or it could signal there's something else that's really important that needs to be checked out. All right. So I mean go in there. So I will go right into the show, get right into the show. Number one, it could be let me go there and see that. Okay. Number one, cardiac related. Okay, card is heart related. So it could also be the fact that your blood pressure and maybe your heart regulates your blood pressure. So it could be your blood pressure could be too high, your blood pressure could be too low. And also, you can have an arrhythmia where your heart is beating out of whack. It's supposed to like you when you see the EKG monitor, whenever you see a picture of a heart, how nicely it's supposed to go. But it's something like let's say there's a regular rhythm in your heart, and the brain and figures it out, and it's like right away if your blood is not flowing the right way, you could pass out from that, and that's like even more important. So when you do go to the hospital to be doing the EKG and doing some other testing and all, already, it's also you could have a blood clot, you could have blood clot to the lungs. You could have something there like a blockage in the heart. You could also it could be tumor related, meaning you have something else there's a growth in your heart that's serious that's causing the blood flow to be interrupted. So all those things are very very important that you really go get checked because sometimes you pass out and you wake up and you be like oh okay whew, that was scary, but now yeah, and then you never go get checked and then something happens again, or it may not happen maybe for a couple more months, or you start having symptoms like you're going to pass out every now and then. And also sometimes when the people you don't always like pass out already because sometimes people feel that like yes I'm going to pass out. It's called and people have like issues of dizziness, and we call that vertigo. And also it's like oh yeah sometimes I get a little dizzy. And if you have that going on with you too, and that's happening more often, let's say if you go for an amusement ride or something like that, that feeling with like little wooziness, or if you go for a long car drive, some people cannot tolerate a long car drive and other things. But if you find yourself getting dizzy most of the time too, that is very important that you go to your doctor so you can get checked, and you may have to go see the specialist, and also they can do additional testing because there's some testing that they can do that the primary care doctor can ordered, but certain tests that you have to go see a specialist for that. Okay, so you may have to follow up with a cardiologist, you may have to follow up with a neurologist and all. So it's important. All right. So what are other reasons there? Again, okay, neurological, like I said. Also, it could be you passing that because let's say you have a history of seizures, or you may never have had history of seizures and all that, so you want to get checked. Also, it could be a sign of you having a stroke, like a minor stroke called TIA, that is transient. It comes and then the symptoms go away within like 24 hours. So you could pass out from that. You could pass out from a real stroke where you just like, just completely pass out. That's the reason why when we talk about stroke or the different symptoms of stroke, the weakness in your face, the slurring of the words and all that. So sometimes some of those things don't happen right away, but it can also happen. Other people, when people notice that, of course, you have to get to the hospital as soon as possible because there's certain tests that need to be done and it has to be done within a 90-minute period. So they need to be there 90 minutes and also like within a 3-hour period where they have to give you certain medications that you need to go get that checked. Okay. So you can be doing that again, like I said, seizures, or we talked about the heart. You get a stroke, you could be having major stroke or minor stroke, dizziness and all that. Again, like I said, vertigo, you can pass out from that too. Okay. Also, low or high blood sugar. You may not be a diabetic because sometimes most people don't even know they're diabetic until something like that happens, or if they happen to go to the hospital and we're doing other testing and we find out that you have, your numbers are a little wrong. If you missed my show on diabetes, you can just look down and go back on Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page. For those of you who try to join, please make sure it's Abby Tyler's Healthy Living pages. I'm not doing the group. I'm not accepting people to the group because it's much smaller. I have a bigger platform here. Okay, so go there. I talk about diabetes. I talk about high blood pressure and all of that. I talk about low blood pressure as well. Okay, so making sure that going back to the cardiac related, if your blood pressure is really low, okay, I'm going to talk about medications when I get to that too. Okay, but that can also cause that too. So low blood sugar, if your blood sugar is really low, you may pass out. Your blood sugar is very high, you may pass out as well, because the body has to have the blood sugar in a certain range, and anything outside of that, especially if you're diabetic too, you want of course you'll be speaking to your doctor, your healthcare provider, so they can get all your information together and tell you what to look for when you're supposed to take your blood sugar. If they tell you to take your blood sugar every day and call if your blood sugar is around this in this range, or take this certain amount of blood sugar, but you're sitting there again, if you have to take insulin and you have to go somewhere and you took the insulin long before, that's going to drop your blood sugar. Even also, if you're supposed to have a snack at night and your blood sugar is too low in the morning, you could also like not wake up and they have to like rush you to the hospital and all. So it's important. So you could pass out from very low blood sugar and very high blood sugar. That's why it's very important that when you are diabetic, you are following up with your family doctor, or if it's like if you have to also follow up with an endocrinologist, the doctor that takes care of diabetes also in your thyroid system. So you have to follow with it every 3 months. So when they do blood work, they can see where your blood is and they have to regulate your medications. Okay, it's very, very important. And I know can be a little, it can be a little scary if you live somewhere where you don't have all those resources, but speak to your government about that. All right. So make sure you're regulating, you're watching your insulin, you're watching your diabetes and all that. Now, if you're not taking insulin, but if you're taking any other medications, pills to watch your blood sugar, or taking other things like Ozempic and Trulicity and all, make sure you're following up with your doctors and following your doctor's instructions closely so you don't find yourself falling. Then one of the things of the complications of falling also is like fainting also, because when you fall, if you fall and you hit your head, you're talking about a head injury. That's why usually when somebody falls, the first time we go with like, did you hit your head? Did you hit your head? Because sometimes you may not even remember that you hit your head until like hours and hours later, or maybe a couple of days later, when you start getting a little more confused. And then you find out you hit your head and you probably got a pool of blood in your head. And that can also lead to other complications as well. And especially with the elderly, when they faint or when they fall, the complications are much greater than somebody who is younger. So, but just think about it. If you fall walking around and you're hitting the hard concrete and all that can be scary too. What if you pass out when you're driving? That can be, I mean, you're talking about you risking your lives and the lives of other people in the car and other people that have been pedestrians and other people that are driving as well. So it's important, it's important. That's why I always talk about going to get your annual visit and making sure you're getting your blood work so they can start trending to see where your levels are, and they need to change any medications if they need to put you on any medications, if they need to take any medications away. All right. We can go into the weather. Ooh, okay. So that you can pass out too, because especially when your body's supposed to be at a core temperature of 98.6. All right. You can be anywhere from like 96, 95.6, 95.8 up to like maybe 99. Okay. So, but especially when you're, if you're older or you have some kind of brain injury or something like that, and you're in the heat or like extreme weather, really extreme weathers and all that. So your body's like, it cannot regulate the temperature like the way you're supposed to, even if you're like completely healthy and you're sitting there in the hot sun, humidity and everything. That's the reason why you have the weatherman telling you don't be in the sun for too long, and the temperature is going to be this amount, and the heat index going to be this, or they're, the chill everything in the air. They tell you that, so they tell you make sure if you don't have to go outside, don't go outside. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water to stay hydrated. If you have congestive heart failure, of course you can be drinking all that water because your body cannot pump all that water out like the way it's supposed to. So they will tell you that. So it's very important that you watch your weather. And those of you who have also people who work outside, construction workers, when the weather's really bad, they tell you, it's not safe for you to be outside that long. Okay. So please, please, please. The weather, yes, the weather does play a factor. That's one of the external factors I'm talking about. So you have to know that ahead of time. If you're going to be doing anything that's going to cause you to be outside for too long, make sure you have nice water with you. Make sure you have, sometimes I usually take my water bottle and keep it in the freezer, because you see some kids who work at amusement park and they like in the sun, blazing sun, like most of the time. And also they always have like frozen water with them. So you have water with you. Keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself hydrated. And of course, there's certain jobs that you cannot do that if it requires you to be outside, if you have some other cardiac complications and other things, other medical complications as well, you cannot be outside for that long. So you may not do a certain job, or you may do it at a limited point. Okay. So you know yourself, you know your health, your health history. Look for the kind of job that's going to be able to suit you, so you don't have to suffer any complications and all that. Okay. And I'll finish up with medications. Like I said, there's so many different other reasons. We also talked about blood pressure. When I talked about blood pressure, very low blood pressure, very high blood pressure, orthostatic hypotension. That's why the older you get, so you're on a lot of medications. That's why older people, we don't give them, we're going to just give them just every medication that we give like a 35-year-old, because as you get older, your body slows down. So the medication that we're giving you, it takes a little longer for it to get out of your body. So if I'm giving you something that's supposed to regulate your heart and all that, a regulate this, and it takes forever to come out of your body, or it may stay in your body for so long because you're not peeing it out, it's not passing out to your liver, depending on how the medication's taken out of your body, put it that way. Okay, so if I give you pain medicine, that may last in your body for a longer time. So if the medication is in your body for a longer time, that means it's not, it's there, and it put you at a higher risk for falling and becoming dizzy or becoming confused. So we have to regulate those medications and all that. So if you're taking certain medications, that's going to, and also for blood pressure, we give you medication. That's why I tell patients, okay, we put you in new medications. We want you to come back in the office at least a month from now, get a blood pressure cuff. I always advise people to get a blood pressure cuff so you can take your blood pressure at home. There's so many easy ones now where you literally just put in your arm and press the button. You don't have to press the thing anymore. It just goes there, give you the number. I tell people to keep like a record of that and come back, because sometimes you'd be like, they might say, oh, you put me on this medication and I've been feeling kind of dizzy and a little woozy. And so it's like, okay, yeah, maybe we put the medication, and also the medication is causing your blood pressure to be too low. So sometimes it's regulated too much. So it's causing it to be too low. Doesn't mean that we made a mistake. It's just your blood pressure was high. We put you in the medications that are recommended first line and all, and then we may have to adjust it, tweak it a little bit. Maybe that's why we always start low, especially for elderly people. We start low and go slow. But even then, we always start low, and then that way if we need to take it up, we take it up. And sometimes we have to bring it down or add another medication or take it with one other medication. That's why every time you come to the doctor's office, we look at all the list of your medications that you're taking, and we might say, okay, maybe you don't need this medication based on your symptoms and all of that. Okay. And also your electrolytes. So I didn't mention that part, like the potassium, your sodium, your magnesium, all those other chemicals that you see when you did chemistry in school, that regulate your heart, that regulates your body and all that. It may be to where this have to be at a healthy range. And let's say this number was like to where your potassium was at a number where it's not supposed to be, it's too high or too low. All of that, the heart depends on all those different electrolytes and all that to keep the body going. The brain needs all that. So if it's not wearing it, sometimes you don't know, you don't have any symptoms about it until something happens and you go to the hospital and we have to do blood work on you to find out that, oh my God, you need some IV fluids and you need to get some potassium, you need to get some dextrose because your sugar is too low, you need to get this, you need to get that, and some other supplements and all that. So it's very important that again, I'm going to put it back home. And also for older people, like and for regular people too, if you have a little dizziness when you stand up, I tell them you stand up, okay, and you stand up and stand to the chair where you're sitting, or what is like wheelchair or not. Make sure the wheelchair is locked. If you're getting out of a wheelchair, stand right next to the chair. All right. And staying there. I'll always say, staying there, get your bearings. All right. Stand there for a little bit, maybe about 60 seconds, get up and all that. And then also you get up and you move around and you move around a little bit, stand up again, and then you start moving. Even for people, younger age, you don't just jump out of bed like that. Of course, when you're much younger, your heart, your brain and your heart and all that is like, okay, we can regulate the blood pressure very easily. As you get older, you be like, whew, man, I feel a little windy getting up. Okay, so it's important that you get up, get up slowly, sit on the side of the chair for a little bit, like you're getting out of the bed, sit on the side of the bed for a little bit, then stand up for about 30 seconds, making sure you're still resting against the back of your legs, still resting against the bed or the wheelchair, wherever it is, a chair, and give it 30 seconds, get your bearings, and then go. And then off go, you want to make sure you tell your doctor that, say, every time I get up, I've been getting a little dizzy and all, and that's been going on and make sure you're tracking your symptoms, okay? Because we're going to ask you, how long has that been going on? And what happens, when does it happen, how long after you take your medication? That's why when I did my show on how to, when you go to the doctor's office, the way we try to we try to get to a diagnosis and all. So like I said, I didn't go over all of that. So there's a whole lot of other reasons why people faint. So, but those are like the major reasons. And also talk to your doctor if you have any symptoms or your family members having any symptoms, so you can get checked. Again, like I said, fainting could be something where it could be, okay, just external factor, something happened, and then you go on by your business and nothing happens again. Or it could be a sign of something very life threatening. Okay, like you maybe, God forbid, you got some kind of brain tumor or something else is going on there, but you want to get it checked. All right. So I hope this helps somebody. Please share the show, and I'll be available to answer any questions in the comment section. So just go ahead, feel free to ask any questions, and I'll be answering them, or I'll answer them after the show as well. So thanks for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you haven't joined Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page. I am on Facebook and I am on YouTube also, and I broadcast to Focus on Liberia. So thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys later. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye bye now.